And your name, so people know who you are.
My name is Jim Regan.
And you are what here?
I'm part of the Mason Enterprise Center. My title is Director of the Virginia Procurement Technical Assistance Program. And my colleague?
Yeah, I'm Wallace Johnson. I'm the Deputy Director for the PTAC, as well as the Director for the Mentor-Protégé program.
So the PTAC is the Procurement
Technical
Assistance Program, and the Mentor-Protégé program. Okay,
but you'll hear us use the terms interchangeably. We use PTAP, which is the program, the Procurement Technical Assistance Program. And then you'll hear us also lapse into PTAC. PTAC are the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. That's the locations that we deliver the services.
So the TAC is the service, the
TAC are the centers.
TAC are the centers.
Right.
And the TAP
is the program. And it's PTAP.
It's a test.
It's PTAP.
PTAP, okay. And
PTAC.
So the overall, what's your mission overall?
Well, let me put us in perspective as far as how we fit into the university, and we'll talk about the overall mission as we come to us on the sheet. This, by the way, is just a summary sheet on the various programs that comprise the Mason Enterprise Center. If you'll notice, we're part of the School of Public Policy here at George Mason University, and so the full moniker is the Procurement Technical Assistance Program within the School Mason Enterprise Center of the School of Public Policy of George Mason University. Okay, there's a mouthful.
That's why you got all these big
That's why we've got, well, and we also use a lot of acronyms too. But what we are, basically, we're some 7 programs designed to help businesses in various stages of development. The way we fit into the university, we, Wally, myself, and the various programs that are resident here, report through the Dean of the School of Public Policy to the President administratively,
the President
of the university, and to the Provost academically. So that's how we fit into the structure of the university. As far as the professional staff of the various programs, Wally and myself included, we're part of the faculty of the School of Public Policy.
So everyone here is actually faculty on
Well, not everyone, the professional staff,
right.
Because we have some classified service and folks and stuff like that.
But the services themselves, I mean, faculty, you're not here just for the university, you're here for the community?
Well, let me explain the PTAP, and then I'll turn it over to my colleague, Wally Johnson.
The
Procurement Technical Assistance Program is the one that I run on behalf of the university, and we are a statewide program, and it was put in place, the program itself was put in place by DLA back in the mid-'80s as a way of DLA, Defense Logistics Agency, as a way of expanding DOD's industrial base, Department of Defense's industrial base. Then, I guess about the early 90s, they figured they'd add other federal agencies, and then state and local government to the hopper. So think of us as a one-stop shop on how to do business with government at various levels.
And you have offices around the state instead of?
Yes, I do. Statewide PTAC. I have locations down in Charlottesville, in the Hampton Roads area, and we have some satellite offices, one in the Richmond area at BizWorks, and then we also map ourselves on top of the small business development centers. And I don't know if in a previous interviews that you've done, the small business development centers. Well, we run the Mason Enterprise Center under that runs all of the small business development centers within the Commonwealth of Virginia, and my colleague Jody Keenan is the one that runs some 28 of those through a consortium of the universities. We map our services on top of theirs in locations where we don't have a physical office.
So if you provide those services somewhere where there's a small business development center, they can tap into your stuff.
Exactly.
But you're primarily just for selling to the government? Federal, state, local?
Federal, state, and local government. Folks that have interest in doing business with any of those entities, we provide assistance. Now, the services the PTAP provides, we do seminars. We teach a variety of seminars that you have a host of them there. We do conferences. We do one-on-one counseling with folks, on anything from the basics all the way to more complex matters.
So if I was hey, I heard about this 8A stuff or something getting done.
Exactly. We can explain, that program and how to go about applying for it, the requirements, the qualifications needed, and so forth. As a matter of fact, I have one of my colleagues who also happens to be the director of the Prince William Mason Enterprise Center, is very expert on that, and she provides assistance to us once or twice a week in order to help educate clients, not just educate them, but also to help them submit the 8A application. We run with a host of different things. We got 8A, Hub Zone, service-stable veteran-owned business, women-owned business, and so forth. Hub Zone. That was another test for you. Historically underutilized business
Yes, and that sounds like another interesting.
That's a jobs program, and that's an interesting one. And that, with latest GAO positions, that's one that has achieved status. Well, I guess in some quarters would say it's equivalent to the 8A program. Others would say it might take precedence.
No kidding.
That's the latest GAO position, and of course that's being reviewed and discussed between those folks and the Small Business Administration, because 8A is the one that most folks look to as precedent.
I mean, if you're a business in a HUD zone, then you also have...
Well, you have to have a formal application. One,
I see,
primary location is in a hub zone. 35% of the employees have to reside in a hub zone, not necessarily that one. And it has to be 100% owned by American citizens.
I see.
And there's formal application made to SBA on the website, and certification then comes about formally.
And what's a hub zone?
Historically utilized business zone is one that is, let's see, I think the factors are 80% of the average income of, let's say, the state that they're located in. The unemployment rate is greater than 120% or thereabouts. And don't quote me on these. I guess we are on camera, so I'd have to go review. I'd have to go review those specifically. But it's basically a jobs program, and it's designed to help businesses that are located in areas where folks are either low employment, as far as underemployed, and also where the income levels.
So basically, for those kinds of things, I mean, you're a place to come to figure out that process,
exactly,
get in the system.
Well, if you went to the SBA's website on HubZone, and that's one of the links that's off our website, you'd be able to actually put in a physical address. In addition to learning about the HubZone, the requirements for it, and the advantages of it, you'd actually put in a physical address, and the system would come back and tell you whether that location resides or is a HubZone. Okay.
And the mentoring, what is that? What kind of mentoring you do?
Well, we're basically dedicated to the Department of Defense. Now, the Department of Defense Mentor-Protégé program is the program in which we support. Now, one of the things you have to understand is that there are a number of Mentor-Protégé programs out there. What I mean by that is NASA has a Mentor-Protégé program, the Department of Homeland Security, SBA, and so forth. But the key point you have to remember is that the Department of Defense Mentor-Protégé program is the only Mentor-Protégé program that is legislated by Congress, and funds are provided by Congress.
And what does a mentoring program, now, so this is only for defense contracts, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So how is that different than the normal program helping get a contract?
Well, the way the program works is you have to go back in time to about 1991. And Senator Sam Nunn and Secretary of Defense Perry, they were looking at the Department of Defense. And they looked down and they saw where small disadvantaged businesses, SDBs as we call them for short, we're not getting their share of defense contracts. I think back then it was somewhere like 2.9%.
Wow.
And so we said, we got to do something to get these companies where we can build their capacity and have larger companies who have been successful to mentor them and show them how to be more productive and be able to provide products and services for not only just for the Department of Defense, but other federal organizations as well.
Oh, I see. So it's not only for defense contracts, it's for any...
Well, in the case of the one that Wally is director of,
yes,
it is the Department of Defense's Mentor-Protégé program. Remember, he mentioned that there are a number of different agencies with Mentor-Protégé programs. Each of them have different requirements and so forth. But basically, the one that we limit ourselves in supporting would be the Department of Defense's Mentor-Protégé program.
Because what happens is when Congress put this program together, they came up with economic incentives, money.
Oh. For you? Or for
not for these major prime contractors such as Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, to incentivize them to help develop these small disadvantaged businesses. Now, since that time, it has expanded in 2003, it was expanded. Excuse me, in 2002, it was expanded to women-owned small businesses. And in 2003, they expanded it to service-disabled veterans and to hub-zone businesses. So you have 5 major categories of small businesses that are eligible to participate in the Department of Defense program.
So you're saying large government contractors are getting money to help small businesses get contracts?
Yes, they have 2 different categories. They have the reimbursement program where they get reimbursed for the funding that they expend in developing these programs, and then in addition, and in addition to that, that's the reimbursement side of it. But they also have what you call a credit program. What that means is, if they expend funds and they are accountable for them and can keep track of them, they receive credit toward those goals. In other words, women-owned businesses, there's a 5% goal. Small disadvantaged businesses in 8A, there's a 5% goal. Hub zone is 3%. Service-disabled veteran is 3% goals. That's what these federal contractors have to provide.
You mean, is that for 5% of the contracts they do, they have to subcontract?
That's
5%?
correct.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Now, let's clarify that.
Yeah.
When we talk about subcontracting, when someone contracts, they subcontract a large and small business. Mm-hmm. The statistics that Wally was citing is of the subcontract work.
I see. That's
23% has to be in those categories, split between those categories we talked about.
Yeah, because it kept, again, we go back in time, they had the Federal Acquisition Streamlining Act. They call it FASA. Another acronym. In 1978, it said that if you have a contract, and you started off, if it's a service contract of $500,000 or construction or manufacturing contract of $1 million, you must subcontract 20% to small business. Of that 20%, 5% had to go to the Okay. But now, as you go, that's just the floor. Now, on certain efforts in construction and various other areas, that percentage increases. Sometimes 30 or 40% goes to small business.
Yeah, one contract in particular, the Navy Marine Corps internet contract. Mm-hmm. I believe EDS got a 40% requirement
40%
for subcontract.
So whoever got that major contract has to give out 40% to small business
in that particular program.
In that contract.
And it's up to the contracting activity of the sponsor in this case as to what that level should be. Mm-hmm. And of course, they do a pre-market survey to ensure that there are enough small businesses out there that can be satisfied.
Right. Yeah. So in other words, then, besides just getting a contract, your services help people understand how to get a subcontract. So because they have to be on certain lists to get that subcontract.
This is real key with the DoD Mentor-Protégé program. They have to sit down with the mentor and the protege, and they do what you call a needs assessment. What does this small business need to build its capacity to be a good, competitive provider of goods and services to the federal government?
Wow.
And they put together a plan for development. And this plan is set up for over a 3-year period of time. They determine how much it's going to cost, and that's what they request from the federal government. And as these funds are expended, the mentor gets reimbursed for those funds that they expend.
So, an example, you have a small business, let's say on this IT contract or whatever, the web design or whatever, and decided they wanted a subcontract of that. Then they come in, first of all, get approval to be in that category, right? And then they get hooked up through your program with who had the major contract. Mm-hmm. Then this person, the major contractor, sit down with the small business and figure out, hey, what do you need to really provide these services? And say, well, you'll need this, this, and this. And then that major contract submits a request to the federal government to get the resources so they could grow to be big enough to supply.
They apply to be a mentor.
Wow.
And they set up a developmental assistance plan. They stratify it over 3 years. It goes forward to the sponsoring agency. We'll say, in this case, the service could be the Army, Navy, or Air Force, or an agency such as the National Geospatial and Intelligence Agency. Now, what you have to keep in mind is they specify, like, for example, the Army specifies what they're looking for in these small businesses.
I see, right.
Like, for example, military construction or MILCON.
Right.
a big thing that's going on right now is base realignment and closure act.
Yes.
They're moving people around, they're moving organizations, you name it. And there's a lot of opportunities out there, for small business.
I'm trying to get somebody to interview on that, so if you know somebody.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the Army, that's one of the major areas they're trying to get small businesses involved, and they're looking for companies that can provide those
Maryland
businesses.
has a lot of money on that base closure.
Oh, yeah. Well, Maryland has done a pretty good job as far as the state is concerned in the structured program that they've got set up for that, headed by a retired Marine Corps general. No offense.
Oh, really?
No offense, Willie.
Are you both military?
I'm former Navy. He's the Army guy.
He's Navy. I'm the Army guy.
I see. Well, I'm Navy, too. 3 years too much on Navy.
Yeah, I'm outnumbered here, but those percentages are just about right, 2 to 1.
Yep.
Wow. It takes two of us.
Yeah, it takes at least 2. We had one of our tenants here. They are contractors with the Marines. They're providing some sensors and various other things. I can't go into all the details, but they said, "Well, hey, you better behave yourself, Wally." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I want you to know we've got 5 Marines coming here." I said, "It's about right." I said, "That's about right." I said, if it gets up around 9 or 10, I may call in some help. But right now, that's about right.
Well, that's right.
But seriously, this is a great program, and it's been great since we got started in 1994.
94.
Yes, and we've seen companies go from very small, and I mean like 2 or 3 people, up to into the thousands.
Wow.
And I can go through numerous. Matter of fact, at our website, we have numerous success stories
sure.
So
that
that's
show.
on the site,
It's at our website. You look under experience, and it has success stories, and it tells you who the mentor is, who the proteges is, what kind of work we did for them, and what the outcomes was. Did they grow to a $50 million company? Did they get the non-Perry Award?
Wow.
The non-Perry Award is the award that's given in any given physical year to the top performers. In other words, the most outstanding candidates in that physical year. And we have seen numerous companies go from literally zero, not zero, but say 10 or 15 employees up to several hundred employees.
Wow.
And like one example is Fuentes Concept Systems. They sold to Stanley Corporation for well over $50 million. And Arrowhead Global Solutions, Marianne Elliott, I remember when she and I met for the first time, she was like 5 people over here at Skyline, and she sold for around, $92 million?
No kidding.
Yeah, wow. And then, we could go on, but a lot of these success stories are right there. And most of these companies were non-Perry Award
the
money.
business of finding out this stuff, I never heard of this Mentor program.
Well, now we run the Mentor-Protégé program under the Procurement Technical Assistance Program.
Yes, because the law requires it.
I see.
There's we have the Defense Federalization Regulation. I hate to get into all these numbers, but we have the DFAR 219.71, and there's a specific Appendix I, that specifies the policies and procedures. And in that, you go down to this one little scroll down through it, the paragraph I-106.
If you have trouble sleeping at night.
But you will see that it says if that mentor needs assistance in developing his proteges, he can only go to one of 4 sources.
Wow.
He can go to a Small Business Development Center. He can go to a Procurement Technical Assistance Center or program at Historically Black College and University or minority institution. Now, because the Navy is stronger than us, I decided that I should be the deputy to Jim, and because under the
seriously, we're fortunate to have Wally as the director, and that he serves as my assistant director.
Now, what it is we try to keep things as simple as possible for people to understand. We manage and run our Mentor-Protégé program for the Mason Enterprise Center and for George Mason under the Procurement Technical Assistance Center because it's easy. That's how we identify. Everybody has a brand.
You can play golf on Wednesday and he'll answer the phone.
How did you know? Thursday. they told you about that, huh?
So the major contractor that's in the Protégé program, so if they think they need financials, assistance, there's money in the program to give the subcontractor.
Yes, right now the program started in 1993 and 94.
Yeah.
Congress appropriated somewhere in the neighborhood of $44 million for the program.
$44 million.
Yeah, right now the numbers average somewhere between $25 and $26 million a year.
26 million. But is that going to the structure, or is that what's going to help the?
That's going to help. Now the Office of the Defense, Department of Defense, OSD. What they do is they keep about $1 million or $2 million for operating and overseeing the program, but the remainder of that money goes down to the mentors for the development of the proteges.
I see. So that's where you're going to the proteges. Then.
Yes, for their development.
Right.
Now, at any given time, like this last year, we had over 200 mentor-protégé agreements in effect.
Wow.
Okay.
In the state, or you?
No, across the nation.
Wow.
That's the great part about us is we don't have to adhere to local boundaries. Jim got on my case because I said, we're nationwide. I'm on your side. I kind of stole that jingle, but basically that's what it is. Yeah. We have clients from right here in the major metropolitan area of Washington, and we go all the way to Hawaii. Wow. We go all the way to Hawaii. We have clients in Hawaii and San Diego.
All the programs around the country can do that. Go operate anywhere.
Mm-hmm. They could.
Wow.
Yeah, I have. And again, we had our conference out in San Francisco, and they published a little map. I got a copy in my office, and it has little dots that shows where the mentors are and where the protégés are across the United States, and we pretty much stretch all the way across. As far as having clients.
So for kind of the mentoring, so it sounds like they'll help you through the process once you get a mentor, and then you guys give courses and
well, that's a different thing now.
Yeah.
Just about, I'd say, all of his protégés and many of the mentors are clients of the Procurement Technical Assistance Program. Mm-hmm. But as far as the services that we provide, well, the Mentor-Protégé program sits under us, or is signed out as part of the PTAP. We also do light market research. We have a couple of tools we use on behalf of clients. Again, the services are free. We run what's called a bid matching service.
Bid matching.
And when I say the services are free, the only thing we charge for, this will vary from PTAP to PTAP, PTAC to PTAC centers, would be seminars. We charge for seminars, and we charge for the bid matching service.
$50-100 or something.
Yeah, that's about it. And the bid matching service we hook up to a database on the West Coast on a daily basis. Does a full text search of all synopsis in the database. And of course, there's FedBizOps in it, but it's got 4 DLA databases. It's got the Navy's site. It's got some overseas sites. It's got a host of state and local sites that get pulled in. If one was interested in that, if you were to go to some, the website that's run by that database that we hook up to, there's some 7 pages of internet sites that are pulled in on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And so that's all part of the services that we provide to clients.
Now, one thing, the place to start, it seems like maybe a way to start to understand it would be taking one of your courses for
take one of the basic courses, doing business with the government,
and then find out what you need from there.
Exactly.
And then you guys are here to help you.
Yeah, what we basically will do, we look for them to try to take the basic course first. But if a company is established, and now they're interested in doing business with the government, we would send them to our website, and that's in the case of our location here, the Northern Virginia Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which headquarters is also located here for the Virginia Procurement Technical Assistance Program. And we'd ask them to click on how to become a PTAC client.
I see. Oh,
click on that. It brings up an online form they can fill out and submit online. And they're put in the queue, and they're contacted by a member of the staff to set up a meeting with them to determine their needs, determine what services they desire, and see if we can't help them with maybe crossing some of the T's and dotting some of the I's on things that they maybe didn't realize were there.
I mean, it seems to me, if I was thinking about selling the government, the first thing most people think was Google search, selling the government. Yep. And what you'll probably get, the first 10 pages is somebody trying to get a couple grand from you to tell you how to sell the government.
There are those folks out there, too. Yeah,
that's true.
And that's all real estate, so they're going to pay if they're making money, because I know you look for...
Yeah, I would think if you hit Google with the term procurement, you'd probably wind up with the Procurement Technical Assistance Programs, either at mine or at one of the states. And then if you went to that site, clicked on find your PTAP.
Right.
It would take you to the DLA site, the Defense Logistics Agency site, which brings up a matrix of states. Click on the one that you're in. That'll bring up the particular procurement technical assistance programs resident within that group, and you pick out the one that's most convenient for you.
Mm-hmm.
Here in the local area, we have, obviously, in the Commonwealth, mine. We also have two others that we collaborate with, regionals, one in Southwest Virginia Community College, that'd be out to the west, Richlands, Virginia.
Richlands,
run by a good lady by the name of Glenda Calver. And then further south, we have down south of Petersburg, we have the Crater Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Yeah. You're familiar with the Battle of the Crater. No? Oh, put that on your Civil War education.
Civil War.
You're gonna have to, no, definitely. It's an interesting tale sometime. Take a look at your Civil War history.
More homework. See, I tell you there'll be a test.
But we collaborate with those folks, too. A lady by the name of Joanne Tompkins runs that particular locale. You were talking earlier about looking to do an interview on BRAC, the base realignment and closure. Within the Commonwealth is an organization that's been started up, here through the Prince William Regional Chamber of Commerce, called the Quantico Belvoir Regional Business Alliance. And that might be something of interest to you, and we'll see if we can get you involved with those folks to talk. As a matter of fact, tomorrow there's going to be an event that they're hosting down at the technology headquarters.
About the BRAC?
They'll be talking BRAC, and I'll give you the agenda if that's something of interest.
It's down Quantico tomorrow?
No, not on Quantico proper. This one is down in Woodbridge area tomorrow.
What time? All day?
It should be most of the day. It will start morning, and I think the bulk of the stuff will be pretty well crystallized by noon. But then they have one-on-one sessions and things like that will follow from there. Definitely, if you're interested, I'll give you information on that.
Run down. Yeah, it's close. It's against traffic for me too.
When we talk about the Mentor-Protégé program, I want to really stress and emphasize the fact that we talk DOD, but Wally also talks all of the other Mentor-Protégé programs too.
So the Protégé program, if I came to here for DOD program for the Mentor-Protégé one, you could show them all the other agencies.
But one thing to keep in mind.
We have an excellent website, and my website address is right there on my card.
I'll put them on.
And they can go to our website, and it'll tell them all about the program. Matter of fact, we have icons. If you want to know about the program, just click on that icon. If you want to know, if you are a mentor, we have guidelines for the mentor, things he should do, and we have briefings and other information that they can download. We don't try to copyright or any of that stuff, so they can use it. And if you're a protégé, again, and again, the same thing for the protégé. There's a different perspective that the protégé is looking from, and what he intends to benefit from the program. And we try to guide him through that process.
One of the things to keep in mind is that we do not match make. We don't line a protégé up with a mentor.
Well, then how do you find them?
We do what we call marriage counseling, I guess. Okay? Typically, we would look for either a protégé or a mentor to come with a potential mentor or protégé alliance that they're interested in pursuing. If they don't already have knowledge of the Mentor-Protégé program, Wally's very good about educating them and helping them develop the application necessary in order to pursue that to put in place.
So if I come, if I'm a small business, hey, this is a great program. How do I do it? You at least show me the girls that are available. Is that?
Yeah, we show you the mentors that are out there. We point you to the ones that we currently work with that we know have been very successful in mentoring firms. We can say, hey, if you need an introduction, we'll tell you that this is the point of contact who we work with, and tell them you've been to the Mason Enterprise Center and so forth, so on. You've worked with us. We're very fortunate that since we've been doing this for over 15 years, we're pretty well known throughout the industry, and normally we get a chance to present at the annual conference, so everybody get a chance to see who we are, and it works out pretty well.
Wally's mention of annual conference brings to mind the fact that we, like the small business development centers, are networked nationally.
I see.
So the Procurement Technical Assistance
How
programs.
many are there around the country?
There are 89 cooperative agreements throughout the United States, some 250 locations. And when you take a look at most states have one. As a matter of fact, they just started a program up in Guam and Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah. And we're vying for who gets the
get out there,
directorship out in Hawaii. But in order to find out the one that's most available, go to the website to pick up the one that's there. But we belong to this national organization called APTAC, the Association of Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. That is one that was established to provide a collective, let's say, organization to standardize education, information that should be shared with clients and so forth, to ensure that we have consistency across the United States on the type of information that is shared, information that's given in response to certain questions for those who want to do business with government. So that's the APTAC. And it also provides us, let's say, a group of graybeards. We all don't have the answers immediately on every question, so we can actually go up on the web, since we're networked nationally, ask a question to the membership and see what comes back from that.
So it's like having a national meeting every night.
It's there. We also have conferences twice a year. We have one in the spring. They just finished one up in Las Vegas. Terrible place to have a session. And then we have the next one coming up in D.C., and that one is held each year in the fall in D.C. And since they're close, we usually are the ones that host that.
You got to work harder. Rather go to Vegas.
And while we mentioned national conferences that are interesting to people that sit, the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization has a council, and they sponsor a conference each year. That's held here in the Washington area. It's the single largest one-day conference that's held throughout the United States.
Tell the people what small business, disadvantaged business utilization.
All right. What we do, we have, again, the acronyms.
Right.
People talk about OSTBUs, SADBUs, and now the Office of Small Business Programs. If we're talking Department of Defense small business offices, which is a group that's been established at a particular location, both at the department level and then at the base levels for various places if they're involved in procurement, as an entry point for small businesses to get assistance.
So this is a place in the government, in the procurement office in the government, who's buying stuff, just set there for small businesses to figure it out.
Exactly.
So it's sort of like you guys in-house.
Exactly, but we provide more hands-on, and they refer a lot of folks to us.
I see.
So the other piece, we talked about OSTBUs and SADBUs, okay? Again, things that go down hard. Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. SADBU is the Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization Offices. Those are one and the same. The other federal agencies besides DOD decided that they did not want to embrace the term Small Business Program Office. And so consequently, you would still see OSTBU and so forth. Now, in our website at the Nova PTAC, as far as important links, but I'll give it to you anyway, you'd find the Office of the OSTBUs, the OSTBU Council, Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization Council. And this is the group that all of the small business offices within the federal government belong to. And that's at www.osdbu, Oscar, Sugar, Delta, Bravo, Uniform, .gov. And in there you'd find About Us, and in the About Us you'd find offices, and that lists all of the small business offices in all of the agencies.
Yeah.
So definitely.
That's true. I mean, to
The
me,
Internet's become a marvelous tool.
the government's probably the only people with money nowadays.
Well, I guess that's certainly one view. I wonder after we finish
Exactly.
this,
In 5 years from now, who knows what it is.
stimulus program and all filters down, whether anybody will have any money.
Exactly. But, I mean, in the next year or two, I mean, nobody else seems to have money except, the stimulus money and government stuff.
Well, and that's why a lot of interest in construction and things like that these days.
Do you feel that heightened interest
We
from you guys?
see a lot more interest in the program, and a lot more folks interested in doing business with the government and trying to understand how do they go about it.
Yeah. Well,
from the registrations all the way to how
bureaucrats out there who had a $5 million budget last year and got a $3 billion one this year. How are they going to do that?
The agencies are struggling to ensure that small business get their share of that, but obviously with the speed in which the monies are being applied and everything, it looks as though a lot of it will be going to the large businesses because of existing programs and projects that they have in place, but then with heightened interest on the subcontracting effort.